Okay, so first up is the patent. All right. So the patent you want to think of as an exclusive right to exclude your competition from a protected something, be it design, business process, uh, chemical process, or what have you. All right. Um, and so it is limited in duration. All right. So patents kind of serve a dual purpose because they give a so-called safe harbor for a period of time where I can be the exclusive one to profit off my new intellectual property, something that I invented or I was first to patent. And then when it expires, it's said to be in the public domain, and anyone can use that process without it being infringed upon. All right. So once it's in the public domain, it's thought to be good for the economy because you have a patented process that the owner was able to exploit and capitalize on for a period of time. And then when it lapses, it's in the public domain. Anybody can use it with or without permission. And that's how patents work. So what are we looking at here? All right, this visual is the first page of the patent for Facebook. All right, United States patent, Zuckerberg and all. So that's Mark Zuckerberg's patent. They are consecutively numbered. So this is 8,171,128. All right. But I want to draw your attention to one thing, or a couple of things actually. Date of patent. May 1st, that's when it was approved by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And I'll link to that website because there's some stuff we're going to refer to probably in the next lecture, probably in the next group of content, but I'll link to that so you can take a look. But it's the United States office that receives these applications. So if we look down here, we see that this application was filed August 11, 2006. All right. So we've got a span of well over 5 years, perhaps closer to 6 years from the date of filing to the date the patent was granted. All right. So that kind of gives you a feel for that it takes some time for the USPTO to grant patents, and the reason being, and so the patent is the least accessible for like the small business owner of the types of intellectual property that we'll discuss. Generally speaking, it's difficult and almost impossible to do this without a patent attorney. All right. And so patent attorneys are, and here's the one that Facebook went with. All right. Some of these other names may be familiar if you watched the Social Network, the movie. But it just kind of gives you a feel. So you do have protection from the date you file the patent. Right? It's just the approval process may take some time. All right, let's move on. So there are 3 types of patents that you're going to need to be familiar with. All right, and so the first patent we saw for Facebook was the utility patent. We're also looking at a page from another utility patent. This is so utility patents are for new, novel processes, machines, or what have you, right? and you see how much they cost, up to 30,000, and in some cases more than that. Utility patents last 20 years. All right, and after that point in time, the patented process is said to be in the public domain. All right. From the date of filing, and I referenced this just a moment ago, but I'll say it again because it's important. If you've ever looked at, a toy you got from McDonald's or on the back of a computer or something, you'll often see patent pending. That's an indication that the patented object that you're holding, the patent has been filed but not yet granted by the USPTO, or at least as of the date of manufacture for that item. All right, so that serves as public disclosure that you can't just copy that item. It's protected, it's patented. And so if you were to want to copy, you would need a license to do so, which commonly happens. We'll talk about licensing in a bit. But this is a dog chew toy, so and it's made of foam that you just throw at your dog and they run and grab it and bring it back to you. That's what this is. So perhaps maybe there's some evidence that the USPTO is somewhat lax about what qualifies as new or novel, or maybe they're overworked because they have been subject to budget cuts like many other governmental departments have, and some things get patented that maybe shouldn't have been. And I've got a few more examples that we'll discuss as we progress. So that was the first type, the utility patent. All right. The next type is a design patent. All right. This really is patenting the way something looks. All right. It's not the way it functions, it's the look. All right. These are much simpler to get. You still typically need a patent attorney to do it. They don't last as long, they last 14 years. All right. And they're cheaper, around $3,000, under $3,000, I should say, dollars. All right. So this is a costume, Batman, right? You can tell by looking at it, it's Batman. You might say, where is the Batman logo? And that's actually a different type of intellectual property. All right, so we'll get to that soon. But so this is a patent that is owned by DC Comics. All right, and they patented, it's a Halloween costume is what it is. So they patented it, and basically you couldn't manufacture a Batman costume that looked like this for a period of 14 years. All right, and that's the way a design patent works. It really just prevents manufacture of an article that looks like this. So a Halloween costume with the mask, the horns, that is patented. All right, so that's the second type. The third type, and the rarest type of patent and the most difficult to get, is a plant patent. All right. This is only available to non-naturally occurring plants. All right. That means the plants only occur with human cross-pollination. All right, so not plants that naturally grow in the wild, plants that are that require human cross-pollination. All right, and so if you get one of these, they last 20 years. what you're looking at here is the bridal. No, it's the ever blooming rose. All right, and it's a rose that was genetically superior because it had a longer season for which it would bloom than any other rose, and it had more blooms. The plant devoted substantially more of its energy or its life to creating blooms than other roses. All right. Other types of plant patents, ones that have since lapsed, seedless grapes, seedless watermelons, the wave petunia plant that had substantially more blooms than any other petunias, the azaleas that bloom for significantly longer than 2 weeks. If you've ever planted azaleas, or if you grew up in a house with them, you know that they would only bloom for about 10 days out of the year. There's a variant that blooms for substantially longer than that, a couple of months out of the year. All of those types of things are subject to our patented plants. Okay, so I am going to link a YouTube video about patent trolls. Be sure to take a look at that. But let's talk about when potentially, well, the reason patents cost so much is because your patent attorney has to do a search, an in-depth search of pretty much every similar patent ever filed, and if there are any potentially infringing elements of the patent, you have to address that, right? Because the patented process really goes to the first to file. All right, first to file, right? It used to be that it was the inventor that had the sole right to patent a product, but that is no longer the case. All right. And the reason that the United States changed from first to invent to first to file is they signed several treaties, and the idea with treaties is that we wanted similar treatment of patents in different countries. And the idea was that the United States would respect patented products or patented ideas and concepts from other countries and vice versa. Well, the rest of the world had a first-to-file system, and while it may not seem equitable, it's the easiest from a legal standpoint to enforce. So if two people have the same idea independently, whoever gets that patent application to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office first gets the patent. All right. If you've ever heard of the poor man's patent, it's a myth. It doesn't give you any patent protection. But if you've heard of this, or if not, I'll briefly describe it. The poor man's patent. The idea was that if you couldn't afford $30,000 to patent an idea, you could just write a detailed explanation of your invention and then mail it to yourself. All right, and then if you ever needed to defend that, you would just bring that sealed envelope into court and just drop it evidence, and I win the case. Well, that doesn't work because the idea with patents is public disclosure. This is you're making known to the world, this is my patented process, and you can't copy it, not without a licensing agreement. All right. To that end, everything in a patent is public information. All right, and that's going to come in particularly handy when we talk about trade secrets. But you, me, or anyone can go search patents and read all about patented processes. So there are no secrets in a patent. All right. Anybody who's so motivated can read it. All right. It is skewed towards larger companies that have the ability to pay the legal fees associated with and also defend issues related to their patents as they come up. Smaller companies have created patent portfolios that assess maintenance fees, where any company in that portfolio has access to the patent. And that's an attempt to level the playing field, right? To some degree, because patents are definitely used much more efficiently and effectively by big business. So the patent portfolio is an example of something that small to mid-sized companies can use to have access to intellectual property. All right. Now we referenced the 15 to 30,000 that it takes to get a utility patent, or 2 to 3,000 it takes to get a design patent. That isn't the totality of the cost, because you have to monitor for infringement. All right. And when you find infringing behavior, you have to sue, ask for injunctive relief, profits earned, basically forfeiture of profits earned, and damages. All right. And that can be expensive. So smaller companies may struggle with that as well. Okay. So those are the 3 types of patents that exist, and we'll pick up with, well, it'll be the next content group, but we'll pick up with trade secrets, copyrights, and trademarks.